every fucking event that they put on, it's a going out of business sale. Let's grab as much money as we can from everybody. We don't care if the event is good. We don't care if the people at home enjoy what they saw. They don't care if the people who came and bought tickets liked it.
Right.
We just want to grab as much money as we can. They never reinvested in the sport. Tell me a sport or any business ever in the history of the world that has probably made trillions of dollars in revenue, and at the end of the day, there's nothing there.
Right.
That's boxing.
Throughout history, consisting of hundreds of years of the sport of boxing, there's been plenty of bullshit and corruption that has ridden the sport for far too long. Whether it's the mob paying fighters like Jake the Raging Bull LaMotta to take a dive all the way back in the 1940s.
I said I would lose to Billy Fox if I was guaranteed a championship fight.
Judges or even boxing presidents taking bribes from promoters to fix fights, and even master manipulators like Don King, who even said himself,
why'd you rob Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali like Barack Obama robbed us?
Because I love them. I love them, and I thought it was just so nice that they would give me an opportunity for me to make them rich so that I could rob them, because they were poor when they came to me and there wasn't nothing to rob.
Let me put this in perspective for you. One of boxing's most colossal, high-level fights in nearly the past decade finally happened in July of 2023 after 5 or so years in the making. Earl the True Spence versus Terrence Bud Crawford. You want to know how many pay-per-view buys I had? Just about 700,000 pay-per-view buys. It's not terrible, but Jake Paul's fight versus Tommy Fury had sold over 800,000 pay-per-views. Hilariously, a so-called YouTuber or influencer boxer had sold more pay-per-views from his fight than two of the biggest and baddest fighters at the time in the boxing world.
To be honest, in recent years, a ton of people have really stopped giving a shit about boxing because of the bullshit politics, swindling promoter tactics, rigged fights and fight results, and even the irrational fear of losing your zero on your record in your boxing career. With the sport of boxing, the number one reason why the sport was beginning to die out and why they're currently chasing the coattails of the UFC is clear-cut and simple. The best have not fought the best, at least like they once used to. When the sport was absolutely thriving and likely the most popular sport on planet Earth throughout the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, it was because we got to see the top dogs go to war against the top dogs. Whether it was the 70s era of Ali versus Foreman, Ali versus Frazier, then on to the 80s era of Hagler versus Hearns, Hearns versus Sugar Ray Leonard, Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Duran, or even the 90s era of Tyson versus Holyfield, Julio Cesar Chavez versus Pernell Whitaker. I could go on for days. There used to be actual fireworks popping off within the sport, all the time too. And not only that, there's another massive problem with boxing. The fact that there's 9 gazillion belts because of the absurd amount of boxing organizations that currently exist. There's WBO, WBA, IBF, WBC, while the ring belt is also awarded to an undisputed champion. In boxing, there are 17 men's weight classes with 4 different belts in each of those 17 weight classes, compared to the UFC, who has just 8 weight classes and 1 single unified belt. Since the 4-belt era for boxing began in 2004, consisting of those 17 different men's weight classes, there have only been 11 undisputed champions, clearly showing the lackluster of big-time matchups there's been that the sport of boxing once used to constantly have. Nowadays, boxing heavily lacks the presence of mainstream TV and media. The once ever so thriving sport used to be all over cable and national television, such as on ESPN, NBC, HBO, etc. Now it's hidden on subscription apps like DAZN, on top of paying for the overpriced $80+ pay-per-views in addition to the subscription charges. Back when boxing was on top, there were no unnecessarily long fight purse negotiations, no fighters under numerous fighting promotions, no fighter inactivity, no fight delays, no ridiculous tune-ups, not too many boxing sanctioning bodies, and especially no ducking at all.
No, I don't wanna fight with Mexican. I represent Mexico, so.
Fans aren't dumb. They're really not. At some point, they're saying, "Hey, yeah, these guys are talented. They're gold medalists, they're silver medalists, they're national champions." But don't tell us that they're Sugar Ray Robinson because they're fighting a guy that shouldn't even be in the ring with them. To sign up all these guys and put them on, cable TV every week. But the problem was the same as it was back in the 80s and the 90s. That you put them for the first 2 years while you were building their resume, while you were trying to make them to the point where they could become world champions, you were putting them in there with subpar opponents. And for the most part, we were getting a lot of one-sided fights.
The legends of the sport, like those who I named, they fought the best. They didn't just chase a payday. The only thing that mattered to these warriors was chasing a legacy and defeating the best fighters that the world had to offer them. A price tag in a fight and so-called protecting your zero on your record, that didn't even exist in the boxing world decades ago. I mean, it took a whole ass 25 years for another heavyweight boxer to be crowned undisputed champion after Lennox Lewis did so in 1999. Alexander Usyk became the first heavyweight to become undisputed champ since then when he beat Tyson Fury the first time in May of 2024. And this only happened because everything started to substantially change because of one man who came around. His Excellency Turki Alalshikh. Born on August 4th, 1981, Turki Alalshikh himself has put together some of boxing's biggest dream matchups that were very likely never to happen if he did not get involved with the sport. With a net worth accumulating a whopping $2.8 billion, his wealth originates from being a member of the Saudi royal court, hence why he's referred to as His Excellency, which is an official title that is given to members of the extended royal family. Additionally, Alalshikh's wealth stems from the several government positions he's held, while also being an advisor to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the son of the ruler of Saudi Arabia, King Salman. After earning his bachelor's degree in security sciences from King Fahd Security in 2001, Alalshikh worked in several sectors, including the Interior Ministry, the Emirate of Riyadh, which is the capital of Saudi Arabia, and the Office of the Defense Minister, the Crown Prince. By 2015, he'd become an advisor to the royal court, and just 2 years later, in September of 2017, Alalshikh was promoted to the rank of minister. A royal decree was issued to appoint Alalshikh as a new chairman of the General Sports Authority before becoming chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, rather known as the GEA. So with his role as the General Minister for Entertainment, Alalshikh and the GEA have been tasked with developing, promoting, and expanding tourism and entertainment in the kingdom. Essentially, Turki Alalshikh didn't just bring over boxing and popularize the sport in Saudi Arabia. He revived the sport when it had recently been at its lowest. Behind his own brand named Riyadh Season, which isn't necessarily classified as a boxing promotion, Riyadh Season is a series of events hosted and funded by the Gulf state from October all the way through March, which essentially aims to boost tourism and diversify the Saudi economy within the city of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Alalshikh has already done an unbelievable amount for the sport of boxing in just a few years. In November 2024, he purchased the Ring magazine from boxing legend and promoter Oscar De La Hoya in 2024 for $10 million, and has not only reconstructed the sport of boxing. Alalshikh has partnered with some of sport's most powerful brands such as the WWE, UFC, as well as European football clubs such as UD Almira and potentially Premier League clubs in the foreseeable future. While also, he's hosted concerts and festivals with Riyadh Season, essentially anything involved with entertainment and global trends to truly celebrate Saudi heritage and culture, revolutionizing and transforming the city of Riyadh into a major entertainment destination. The UFC and WWE merged in September of 2023 to form the group named TKO, or fully named TKO Group Holdings Incorporated. TKO is a publicly traded company that Turkey brilliantly partnered with UFC CEO Dana White to form a brand new boxing promotion that plans to fully kick off in 2026. TKO could very well completely take over the sport of boxing, as the group plans to create 12 fight cards or events on average per year, a highly structured system to develop new talent from around the world, including athlete combines and academies, also giving access for all boxers to the UFC Performance Institute, which is the world's leading combat sports performance training, research, rehabilitation, and nutrition center, featuring locations in Las Vegas, Mexico City, and Shanghai. Entirely, TKO's production, media, and promotional expertise plans to deliver both in-arena experiences and top-tier, state-of-the-art broadcasts to fans around the world.
Sport of boxing is where I started. I felt like it was something that could never be fixed until this guy showed up. He has done more for boxing than any promoter in the history of the sport combined. He has invested more money, more energy, and more passion into this sport than literally ever. So for me to be, I didn't know what to think when we first met. He and I have become very close friends in a very short amount of time, and there aren't a lot of people that I would do a deal like this with. There's no people, actually. He's the only guy, to be honest with you. So what he's done for the sport is incredible, and I'm looking forward to it.
Plus, they announced that they're plotting several super fight events similar to the one of the biggest fights boxing history will ever see on September 13th, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. What Alalshikh has done in such a short amount of time and what he plans on doing in the near future is absolutely incredible. Essentially, Alalshikh has taken Riyadh season and created this dream-like, massive tourist attraction and economic powerhouse. He built this all within 6 fucking years. Riyadh season is like Coachella on literal steroids, and it not only can completely revamp the boxing world, but it also could quite possibly revolutionize the entire world in the foreseeable future. They even have a Vision 2030 initiative, which aims to reduce the country's dependence on oil, as their website states that they would rather focus on creating a thriving economy where everyone has the opportunity to succeed.
We want to give the chance for the people who doesn't have chance and make them the next star.
In just a couple years span that Riyadh season and Turki Alalshikh has been involved with the sport of boxing, they've put on an unfathomable amount of super fights. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. They also held 2 undisputed super fight matchups for the first time in 25 years for both the light heavyweight and heavyweight division, including Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk 1 and 2, as well as Artem Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol 1 and 2, with the potential of the light heavyweight trilogy fight coming next year. And the craziest part is, Alalshikh spoke the future into existence.
We want to see Fury Usyk and the result and the rematch between Fury Usyk, and after that we want to see Tyson Fury against Ngannou. All the people want to see it, and we want to see if Fury win, we want to see him against Joshua. If Joshua win, if Usyk win, maybe we have chance to have the third fight. And even if Usyk win, the people still want to see Tyson against Joshua. Yeah.
Alalshikh in Riyadh season also announced an event recently called the Ring 4, which will take place in November, that will hold 4 World Championship boxing matches in one night, including Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. and David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde, which will headline the card. And that's not even forgetting to mention Canelo versus Crawford and Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. 2, which will both take place in September. And instead of paying nearly $100 to watch this fight, or have to watch it on some pirated website, even a TikTok live stream with your TV upside down,
Thankfully, this event will be broadcast on Netflix, just like the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight did this past November. Another one of Turki's brilliant ideas has all fight fans praising him, including myself. He even officially announced that all of Riyadh season's future events will not be held on pay-per-view anymore. You just need a DAZN subscription. As Dana White hinted at removing pay-per-views in the future for the UFC as well, truthfully, a fight as legendary as this matchup of Canelo versus Crawford, held on a streaming service instead of pay-per-view, it could very well revolutionize combat sports forever. Even though the Fatal Fury NYC card blew and turned out to be terribly boring, the fact Alalshikh and the Ring magazine successfully hosted a boxing event in Times Square with Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Teofimo Lopez, and Devin Haney all fighting in the same night, this guy's creativity is just incredible. Alalshikh doesn't just talk like all these promoters do. He actually is a man of his word and makes shit happen.
But now we're kind of bringing it back with a bang. This is 3 main event fighters all on one card. It's amazing what he's doing. I really love it.
He's even made dream-worthy-like proposals that could likely play into existence within the near future. This mastermind already has schemes such as creating a floating ring, a shrinking ring, a 2026 boxing event on the infamous Alcatraz island, as well as potential events in Mexico, Paris, the Colosseum in Italy, and quote-unquote crazy places in China and Japan, while he's even in negotiations with the London mayor to have an event on the London Bridge. Before His Excellency, boxing was in such a deep hole that it seemed like the sport was eventually going to completely die out one day. Yes, boxing has had plenty of stars within the past decade, but they were fighting much lower tier opponents. Boxing was only popular and had hyped up fights successfully because of one tool: social media. Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis in 2023 was the only fight to generate over 1 million pay-per-view buys for boxing since Canelo versus Triple G2 all the way back in 2018. Their fight had so much hype built up because of the Twitter, Instagram, and press conference beef between Tank and Garcia. I knew plenty of people that were tuning into that fight that didn't even watch sports, never mind boxing. And regardless of the amount of wealth His Excellency has, he has been the very long-awaited hero that boxing has desperately needed. As an amateur boxer myself, I think the sport has just gone to complete shit, especially once the Money Mayweather and Pacquiao era ended, and even before then. The UFC currently has a vice grip on the combat sports world, and there's countless reasons why this one company is in the driver's seat, raking in billions upon billions of dollars worth of revenue from the sport of mixed martial arts, compared to boxing, which has massively declined over the years, especially because of shit that Turkey talked about.
With a plan, resting in some round and some round rest, this is no problem. But if you give me for 12 rounds, chasing match, thank you.
Now, because of Alalshikh, there aren't just eyes on the sport because the younger social media demographic wants to see Jake Paul get knocked out by his old-ass opponent. As skilled and powerful as I think Jake Paul is, the fact that Jake's fight versus Mike Tyson was one of the most watched boxing matches ever, especially within the past decade, it's kind of sad for the sport. But now, as long as Turki Alalshikh's around, we can finally look towards a brighter future for boxing, combat sports, and the entire entertainment world period. Boxing was truly on life support, dying slowly, being killed by politics, greed, and an extremely outdated system that's just stuck in the past. The fans were leaving, the warriors of legends were long gone, but now, a billionaire from the desert stormed in with a vision that's bigger than the bullshit of only aiming to sell pay-per-views and to make money off their fans, no matter if the event is good or not. Turki Alalshikh single-handedly revived the sport of boxing. He made fights happen that seemed impossible to create right before it would become too late, like Mayweather versus Pacquiao was. He brought the world's eyes back to boxing through innovation and completely revolutionizing the sport in such an impressively short time span.
With the people who are behind this fight, Turki Alalshikh is basically a boxing fan's dream come true. You know what I would do, says every young little boxing fan, what I would do if I had all the resources in the world, I would make this fight and that fight, this is how I would change. And he's actually doing it, like a kid in a candy store. He's doing it. Who is the everyman boxing fan who actually has the resources to wave his magic wand and make these incredible things happen. Usyk and Fury, you want that? It's right there it is for you, right? Just like that. Oh my God, we're seeing it already, right? Crawford and Canelo, yeah, that'd be cool. Boom, it's there.
Alalshikh has already turned boxing into a global spectacle again. Something worth watching, something worth believing in, and maybe, just maybe, for the first time in decades, boxing's best days aren't just behind us, they're right in front of us. And coming from myself personally, thank you, His Excellency, for reviving the sport of boxing.
I speak for all the fight fans. What you're doing is incredible for us.
I need them to be happy.
They're happy.
And I need them to watch and advise us in the social media what they want to see more.
You're giving them everything.
You know, we are playing with the map now. At the end, we will see the result, and maybe the map is changing.
So more to come.
Yeah.
More to come.
We are partner together, them and us.